Well, here's a first, I believe. This is the first time that I have gone live on all five of my channels on the TSP network. So we've got the TSP Hub channel, TSP DIY, TSP Total Entertainment, TSP Food and Eats, and then TSP Sports. And we have gone live on a few of them one at a time, but I don't know if I have gone live on all five of the channels. And what prompted that was one, I have always been meaning to set up almost like a weekly State of the Union for the network on what's been going on uh, in time to when we have maybe some people that would pop into the live asking questions on the journey of setting up a YouTube network of channels, and all of this coming out of quitting my job in the last couple months to do so, right? So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to make sure that tonight I can actually stream to all five channels. And then if there's anybody that is interested, they just so happen to stumble upon the live and they're like, what is this thing about you quitting your job to start YouTube? You can ask me that. And depending on what channel you came in from, whether it was the entertainment channel, the sports channel, the food and eats channel, the DIY channel, you can ask me whatever it is that you want. So I know that I know those ask me anythings are always kind of fun. Sometimes they get kind of crazy, right? So I will it get crazy? I don't know. Can it get crazy with zero people in the live? That's what we're going to find out. So the first thing was testing out that I can stream to all five channels. And it looks like I can. So what I want to do, instead of having my video as the main thing right now, is just I'm going to put up just the we've got a window that's open, and I have it open to the hub channel because I kind of want to explain the hub channel and in general what is going on with the TSP network, because it was not even an hour ago I was over on TSP Total Entertainment doing a little live streaming, playing some Mario Kart World, right? And talking to a person named Sizzle, who I think lived in South Carolina, if I remember. And he had asked me, what do you like? What is your channel? What's your YouTube all about? And I said, well, technically, I've got five channels. I started five channels after I quit my job. And he was like, well, that's crazy doing five channels, because he was, I think, wanting to set up his own gaming channel for just Call of Duty. And I was like, look, I get it. When you tell anybody that you, one, quit your job for YouTube, and then you tell them you quit your job for not just one channel, but for five, they're going to think you're kind of crazy. And I understand the sentiment behind that, because when you hear somebody say they want to start five channels, you're thinking somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. I don't know really what the hell I'm doing. I just know that I have the attitude of when people say fuck it, just do it. Why can't I? Right? So I am I find it interesting to start my own YouTube channel, but it's not necessarily five in a sense that I'm doing five times the work of one channel. I have five channels set up specifically for the subscriber in mind, to where most of us are like this, right? Where we are interested in certain things and we will subscribe to said channels if there are things that we like about that channel that we're interested in. And more often than not, we're not going to see a bunch of stuff that we're not interested in. So if I were to have a channel that had all of my interests that I enjoy, that I want to do, I want to talk about, I want to make content for, it's going to be really hard to grow that channel because not everybody's going to be interested in all the same things that I am interested in. There's just not a lot of overlap within that Venn diagram of people that are into DIY and tools that are going to care about my video games, my music, and my movies, or the people that are interested in food and eats and recipes are going to be interested in me talking about various SEC football teams, the Missouri Tigers, U.S. men's national team. So it's going to be hard when you have this desire you have a lot of interests, a lot of things that you want to talk about, that you want to do, but it's going to be hard to find other people that are going to want to subscribe to just that channel. So that's why I've got it broken down into 5 channels, 4 of which are the big topics. And then the one is going to be the hub channel, which you guys see here that's up on the screen, which is going to, everything that I do for Brian, the person that you see here, if you're just interested in anything that I'm doing, you can just go to the hub channel and you're going to see it all kind of all together. It's a hub. It's pretty direct and straightforward. Anything that doesn't fit within the other 4 channels are also going to be found on this hub channel. So everything that I do is going to be on this hub channel, of which one of the more popular kind of playlists that I have been involved with in the last couple months is quitting my job for YouTube. That playlist of videos is going to be found here on the hub channel because it doesn't really fit among sports or food and eats or the entertainment channel or the DIY channel. You see what I'm saying? So I usually go at this. This is how I explain it. I have 4 channels. One of which is probably the easiest thing for me to create for is my DIY channel. 1, I enjoy doing DIY. 2, it's kind of a necessity for us. We've been in this house for 20 years. There are 2 boys that we have. The youngest one just graduated high school last year. He's in his 2nd year at Ole Miss. Our oldest is in his 3rd year at West Point. When you have a house, you're a homeowner. You almost always find yourself with a long list of DIY projects to have to address every week. Things break, things fall apart, things have to be tended to. And I found that over time, even though I do enjoy doing it, I was spending a lot of time fixing things, figuring out how to fix things, figuring out what's wrong with things. And when I started to think about it, and this was going like even last year, I was like, why can't I do a DIY channel? And what was holding me back on doing a DIY channel is the fact that a lot of times I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know how to fix a lot of stuff. I don't know a lot about our cars. I don't know a lot about tools. But the thing that I do have a pretty good background is troubleshooting and figuring things out. And I thought, well, maybe that could be the aspect for a DIY channel, is an everyday weekend dad, doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but has the desire to want to try to figure things out. Well, how do I go about doing that? How do I go about trying to figure out what's wrong with the car? Why does it sound like that? What did I end up doing to try to fix it? What did I end up doing to cause more problems? And I was like, you know what? That could be a channel, is the DIY channel. And if I'm doing all that work and effort anyways, why not make content on it? So I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to do something on YouTube and create a channel, that would be something that would be easily done because I don't have to really come up with stuff. I'm already in the middle of doing DIY. So that was one in the back of my head to where I was like, okay, I'm going to set a channel aside for the future in case I wanted to do DIY stuff. Now, then I was like, well, shoot, I'm really into vinyl records, music, movies, talking about my favorite movies, talking about technology, talking about just different kind of electronics, comic books, stuff like that. And I was like, is it possible that I could start up a channel like that? And on the same kind of a thought process of DIY, what held me back on all of that was all of those entertainment channels that I followed to explain, like, Game of Thrones. My wife and I are rewatching Game of Thrones. This is probably the 3rd time we've gone through it. I still don't know everybody's names. I don't know the storylines. I know the basic stuff, but I'm constantly like, I don't get it. Why is he doing that? Who is this guy here? The guy that got his penis cut off. Who was he related to, and why was he like a slave at the beginning? I don't. I'm not paying attention. It's a little too deep for me. And if I can't figure that out, how am I going to have an entertainment channel talking about Game of Thrones, talking about other series like that, talking about movies? So I still go to these other YouTube channels to where I have to have everything explained to me. But I find it fun. It's just fun being a movie fan. It's fun being a music fan. And I feel like you don't have to be an expert to have a channel. Now, will that be attractive to other people wanting to check out what you're doing, to see what you have to say maybe? I don't know. I have no idea. But it goes back to what I say is like the fuck it attitude. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it. And I'll figure it out as I go. So then I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and create the entertainment channel and just have it as a holding spot. So then I had the DIY channel, the entertainment channel. And I was like, well, what are some other things that I'm interested in? Well, I would love to, delve a little bit more into certain sports, college football, U.S. men's national team, stuff like that. Am I a big know-it-all in sports? No. But I was like, why can't I set up a sports channel like I'm going to do with the entertainment channel, like I'm doing with my DIY channel? So then I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just make channels for everything that I'm interested in, like big topics. And then once I do that, let's just have one hub channel to where everything can just kind of be just thrown into one channel. So that anything that doesn't fit within those four will just go into the hub channel. You guys can hear my wife's home. The dogs are going crazy. What's up, Game ID? You're coming from the DIY channel. What's up? I think, right? Yeah. So anyway, so that was the idea of coming up with the 5 YouTube channels. And I know that every time that I try to explain it to somebody, they're like, oh, you're insane. And other people are like, well, why would people, what are you doing? You just turned 50, you're quitting your job and you're doing YouTube. And I take that in. That's almost fuel for me, because this is stuff that other people can't do. I'm not saying that I'm going to be successful at it. I have no idea. Now, I do know that at some point I am going to have to draw some kind of income from the channels. How much? I don't need to make a mortgage. That's the great thing about this. But at some point, I do have to bring in some kind of revenue stream among the 5 channels that I have. Now, the great thing about the way I have it set up, Game ID, I'm telling you, I appreciate that. You saying it's never too late to start your next chapter. And that's, I don't know, is it a midlife crisis? I don't know. Maybe it is. But I know that I have the attitude and the ability to basically wake up the next day and just say, fuck it. Why not? Let's try it. When I decided, I was like, I can't be at this job any longer. Like, I don't know if you guys have been in a position to where you have to work with other people. Now, I have my company that I have, my photography video company that I have. I still have it. It's one that I started back in 2009. It's not going, like gangbusters. The pandemic really killed it back in 2020. But that's the one thing that I have kept that I will continue to do. Is it bringing in a lot of money? No. But it brings in some. But my wife and I last year, with some of the things that she had going on with her cancer and everything like that, we thought it would be kind of safe to go ahead and get a part-time job, right? So when I did that knowing that I don't work well with other people. I don't work well in a corporate environment. Now, I did that right out of college back in 1998. For almost 10 years, I worked in a corporate environment. Hated it. Made a lot of money. But I learned in those 9 to 10 years that I am not made to work in an environment that is layered. to where you have to work with other people, you have people above you. I'm not made to work in that type of environment. But I went ahead and grabbed this blue collar job last year, and I was there for almost a year until this past couple months. But when you get to the point to where you become so mad and so angry over stupid stuff, right? Like I knew that my time was going to be limited where I'm driving home and I almost white out on the drive home because I'm gripping the steering wheel so tight because all I wanted to do, and I can admit it now because I'm not there anymore, but all I wanted to do was punch somebody in the face specifically. Maybe two people. I'm not a physically violent person, but I have anger issues, or I used to have anger issues. And I thought as I've gotten older, I've learned how to manage that. I've gotten better. I've matured. But throwing me in an environment to where I am now working with other people, blue collar environment, having to just put up with just stuff that is just like, are we really stressing out over like stupid stuff? I found that my stress levels were going through the roof. I found that an old part of me that I had been working on for years that I thought was gone, that I had moved on from. I started seeing that Brian creeping up a little bit more. So when it got to the point to where I'm pretty sure I could control myself in public and at work. But when you want to beat the shit out of one or two people, and I'm not kidding, like I'm talking like you want to physically harm somebody for stupid stuff. Stupid stuff. I knew that my time was limited. I went to my boss and said, look, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be here. I can't last that much longer, but I will stay here as long as it takes for you guys to find somebody that you like that can fulfill this position. And then I'm out of here. And that was 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Yeah, look, okay, so game ID, marijuana helps me with that and my contactless job. So we'll get into that in a little bit because I had never, I've got nothing against pot or anything like that. I have never experimented with any of that up until the last couple of years. But that'd be a good, like podcast episode to get into more. But when I went to my boss and said, look, I can't do it. He's like, well, I don't want you to go. I enjoy having you here. I said, look, I enjoy being here with you, and that's about it. But when I want to beat the crap out of people that work for you, and when I'm going home just angry over stupid things, it's not worth it. And especially when you get to my age, you're 50, right? And you start seeing where people that you've grown up with, you've gone to school with, people start dying. All of a sudden you're looking at that and you're like, you're no longer asking those questions of, oh my God, how did he get murdered? Was it a car accident? What was it? No, you're at this age where people that are your age just start dying. Now 50 is not super old. It's not super young either. But you know how many people that I come across that either we know, I've gone to school with, or I've done things with, that I have found that, oh, so-and-so just died. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And this is how I'm going to go out doing some stupid job like this, worked up so much. We've gone through so much with the wife's cancer and everything like that. I'm like, this is how I'm going to go out. I can't do it. Like I can't do it. So that's why I was like, look, if I'm going to struggle and we're going to struggle financially, I'm going to do it to where I don't hate myself every day that I wake up and every night that I go to sleep. I'm a creative guy. And like I said, the company that I have myself, where I work by myself for the most part, other than I will hire out other photographers for certain events. That I can do. That I can work with other people because we both have a give and say. We both can determine if we want to work with each other. When you work in a corporate environment and you work for somebody else, you don't have a say on who you work with. You don't have a say necessarily on what you do. I need to have control. I'm a huge control person. So when I determined that was no longer going to work, I was like, well, what am I going to do in place of that? And then I started thinking, well, I've made a little money on the social media side of things back in the day when I did my gardening account, where I had that for 10 years. Started that back in 2014, kind of quit doing it after a huge burnout, really after the pandemic. And I'm not saying I made a lot of money. I didn't, but there were a lot of things to where I was like, if I did this a little different the next time, or if I did that a little different the next time, I wonder if I could maybe make something on YouTube happen. Because you see other people kind of doing it, and you're like, they're not doing anything special. Why can't I do it? And again, I'm not trying to make a mortgage with it. So my whole thing was, okay, I can probably do something like create content for things that I'm kind of interested in, things to where it gets me excited. I can be creative. I can take what I've learned from my gardening social media accounts. I can take what I've learned from my photo company that I've got and use that to build up a network of channels on YouTube without the risk of really getting burned out, because I have it set up to where I've got 5 channels. So let's just say there's 1 week to where you're tired of talking about DIY stuff, or you're kind of burned out, or you're just like, my back can't take it. I can't go out and fix the truck this week. I can take a little bit of time off on that and then focus in on some other stuff on some of the other channels that I have. So over time, I'm not just doing the same content over and over again, and where I'm threatening myself of burnout like I did with the gardening, because that was every day doing nothing but gardening, seeing the same stuff, creating the same content, seeing other people that you're friends with making the same content to where you're like, I love you. We're friends, we're buddies, but I can't watch any more of your stuff because you're doing the same stuff too. It started to be so repetitive, and I started hating myself for doing the same thing over and over again. But the way I have it set up now with the 5 channels, I'm able to diversify and do things that fall within different kind of categories of things that I'm interested in. So that's the whole kind of setup with what we have going on with the TSP network, which is kind of a nod. The TSP is a nod to the Tossing Salad podcast, which is what I started with on the gardening side of things. That has morphed. That whole podcast, Tossing Salad podcast, is morphed more into just kind of a catch-all. And it still kind of holds true to what I'm doing. Because when you think about a tossed salad, you're thinking about a big bowl of all kinds of different vegetables, all kinds of different things that you're going to eat in a big salad bowl, a good tossed salad. And that's pretty much what this whole network is about, is a whole tossed salad of different things that I'm interested in, organized into channels that make it easy for subscribers to figure out what kind of content they want to see, they want to be a part of. They can just subscribe to whatever channel that appeals to them the most. So that's where we're at with the TSP network. We're 2 months into it. I've got, I believe, the TSP hub page is right around 579 subscribers. We've got, let's see here. If I bring this up here, so we can see the subscriber count for each one of the channels. So my entertainment channel is up to 257 subscribers. Food and Eats, 58 subscribers. TSP, the DIY channel of mine, 482. And then the sports channel at 52. Now, when I said that early on, the DIY was just an easy thing for me to make content on, because that's just the stuff that I'm doing every single day almost. around the house. I'm fixing things. We had 4 cars in the driveway at one point. Things are going to happen to the cars that need to get fixed. So by just embracing that I can continue doing work around the house, but then I make it into content, it's a no-brainer. And that was the easiest channel for me to kind of go from 0 to 482. Because every day I'm working on something. I'm fixing something. So that's been the easiest thing in the last couple months, to go from 0 subscribers up to 482. The goal is going to be by the end of 2025. So really when we have 2 months to go, I want to have 2 other channels up and over 500 subscribers. And to have, I think, close to, 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. But my main goal just for the end of 2025 is to not only have the TSP Hub channel over 500 subscribers, to have the DIY channel at 500 subscribers, and then have the total entertainment. I don't know if I can get that to 500 or not. I'm going to try. And obviously all of the goals are going to be to get them to 1,000 subscribers, to get all 5 channels to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. That's going to take a little bit of time. But the groundwork has been laid out. I have places for the content to go. There's a lot of fine tuning, a lot of things to where I'm still in the test kitchen for every one of these channels. Because I haven't really found exactly how I want to do things for each one of the channels. But as I figure it out, that's content that I can make for each one of the channels. I'm growing the channels. I'm the content. So I think people that have found the interest in, okay, well, what's he all about with DIY, let's say? Just because I haven't found that formula just yet, and I'm testing things out, trying different things out, what fits with DIY that doesn't fit with the entertainment channel, and how I put stuff together, how I make videos. There's almost a different Brian for each one of the channels. I've got to figure that out. But as I do, I'm not waiting to get everything perfected before I get started. Part of the journey of figuring this stuff out is part of getting these channels up and going. So I'm hoping to kind of do these State of the Union type things to where we talk to all 5 channels on a live at once. Once we kind of start doing these, maybe, I don't know, every Friday night or something, to where it's kind of a regular thing. Because I know there's other people that are like me, not necessarily in the same situation, where they're 50 years old and they want to do a YouTube, or they have interest in doing this or that for a channel. It could be somebody that's 20 years old, 30 years old, but they don't know how to get started. They don't have the right people around them to give them the positive energy to get them going. Because to do stuff like this, usually the people that are already around you are the worst people to have around you to encourage you to do this. Not everybody has the right creative types around them to encourage them and help them to do something like this. But my thing is, look, if I can kind of figure this out now, I can show you what I'm doing. I can show you what's working for me, what's not working for me. You take that and go and try to get it going for you. But that's the thing, that where I'm coming from is you can follow me on this journey on each one of the 5 channels, and we'll see how we get it going. But those are going to be the goals. Eventually to have each of the 5 channels monetized. Don't know how long it's going to take. We'll see. So come back next. Let's try it every Friday. Let's try to do a State of the Union on the network of channels every Friday, and we'll go from there. You guys can ask questions. You guys can, if you see something in particular on one of the channels you wanted some information on behind the scenes or whatever, I'll be happy to answer, help you out. All right, that's all I've got for our first one. Looks like we're able to stream to all 5 channels at once, which makes it easy. and I'll have to watch this back to see what the quality of the video and the audio is like. So we're using StreamYard, paid for a year for StreamYard, and we'll see if this is gonna work out for us. So, all right, see you on the next one.